$25 billion to connect 4 nations. Imagine you're in Uganda with value in the form of coffee and tea to export to your friend in Kenya. However, you also have a partner in Ethiopia who wants some Ugandan coffee but first needs to send their precious metals to South Sudan. How long would it take? Months? Years? Well, how about this? A brand new railway, roads, pipelines and fibre optic cables to transport goods between East Africa in a matter of days. Welcome to the LAPSSET, bringing together Kenya, Ethiopia, Uganda and South Sudan. The massive and multifaceted initiatives form the largest and most complex infrastructure project in Eastern Africa. It has the potential to revive underdeveloped areas by providing economic opportunities and lifting entire communities out of poverty. Let's take a closer look at what this project aims to accomplish. However, before we get into that, you're watching Habari Tech, your hub for African industrialization, geopolitics and economics. We hope you like it here. If you are a returning subscriber, we thank you very much for coming back. If you're new, please subscribe. And please make sure you hit the like button so more people can see this amazing project. Magoni, a historic neighbourhood in Kenya's coastal town of Lamu, is home to a glass-panelled, multi-storey building with high stone arches that stands out against the surrounding vegetation. The Lamu Port South Sudan Ethiopia transport, also known as the LAPSSET Corridor, would connect Kenya with Ethiopia, Uganda and South Sudan, is headquartered in this town. The massive undertaking includes the construction of a railway, roadway, crude oil pipeline and fibre optic cables across the 4 nations. Miniature infrastructure developments such as airports, tourist towns, an oil refinery and the 32-berth port at Lamu are all part of the plan. Be sure to stay to the end of this video as we'll take a look at each of these projects to see how much progress they've made. When finished, the LAPSSET Railway will link Cameroon, Benin, Nigeria, Togo, Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire to the Douala, Lagos, Cotonou, Azerbaijan corridor in West Africa. The LAPSSET initiative is seen as crucial to the African Union's regional integration ambition of a prosperous and peaceful African continent by 2063. African leaders supported the initiative at the 2015 AU General Assembly as part of the Presidential Infrastructure Championship Initiative, or PICI. Acceptance into PICI is a stamp of approval for a project's significance to Africa's goal of regional integration. Kenya's second seaport in Lamu will be built as part of the project as well, and is anticipated that it will be larger than the current port in Mombasa. The completion of both of these ports will strengthen Kenya's position as a hub for logistics and transportation in East Africa as well as the Horn of Africa. Despite the project's obvious potential, it was put on hold for a long time after it was first conceived in 1972, 9 years after Kenya gained independence, because the new republic could not afford the enormous expenditures. In 2008, former President Mwai Kibaki gave the project new life, with the hope that the future national budgets would cover some of its $16 billion price tag. President Kibaki, then Prime Minister of Ethiopia Meles Zenawi, and Salva Kiir of South Sudan travelled to the Lamu in March 2012 to lay the port's foundation stone, demonstrating their commitment to moving the project forward amidst the pomp and circumstance of welcome celebrations. Foreign private investors initially promised to help Kenya financially. Despite prior pledges of financial support, countries including China, India, the European Union, Brazil, Qatar, Japan and South Korea have all fallen short. As a result, Ethiopia, Kenya and South Sudan all agreed to fund their respective portions of the project with funds from their own borders. When South Sudan sends its oil to its neighbour, Sudan, it is subject to exorbitant transit fees. Although the civil war in the recently independent nation is raising reservations among major oil companies, South Sudan is eager to exploit the LAPSSET corridor because it could be far cheaper for oil shipments to the Far East and India. We're now at the halfway point of this video. What do you think of this project? Do you think it will be beneficial to these 4 countries? Who do you think has the most responsibility to make sure it works? Please leave these comments in the comment section below. The Kenyan government agreed to foot the bill for the project, which had ballooned to $24.7 billion from an original price tag of just $16 billion and allotted 16% of its budget for 2016 to 17 to the LAPSSET. Kenya can only afford to pay for the entire $24 billion cost of the project in installments. That's great news, since it means that the LAPSSET project's kickoff point, the port of Lamu, can get the 32 berths it needs to get up and running. Similar funding methods have been used for the construction of roads, railroads, oil pipelines, resort cities and 3 airports. The China Communications Construction Company will complete the first 3 berths valued at $478.9 million in 2019. After that, a new round of berthing contracts will be handed out. Moreover, due to a lack of finance and credit, individuals in the local pastoral community may be unable to instantly benefit from second-level opportunities such as local unofficial trade and business. In its efforts to finance the mega project, the government has run into a number of difficulties, including those involving the environment and paying out compensation to landowners whose property the roads and train will cross. When the initiative received new life in 2008, environmentalists expressed concerns about the removal of mangrove trees, the release of oil into the environment and the degradation of Lamu's historic old town. Landowners were not fairly compensated and the community was not involved in the project's design, both of which contributed to a hostile environment. In 2012, locals in Lamu banded together under the Save Lamu group to sue the Kenyan government. Mohammed Ali Badi, the leader of Lamu Environmental Protection and Conservation, explained that the Lamu had been their home for generations, and they were worried that a scheme of this significance could be executed without their participation. Despite this, the initial lack of faith in the project's ability to positively impact the local and regional economies has given way to optimism. One resident of Lamu, Mr. Athumani, stated that it's a new chapter in their lives. He said that the projected port was often mentioned in the past, but they did not anticipate experiencing it during their lifetimes. Many locals there share Mr. Athumani's enthusiasm, but this was only after the federal government gave them nearly $8.8 million to compensate the 154 households whose lands the construction damaged. In 2014, the National Land Commission of Kenya instituted a compensation plan that awarded an average of $50,000 to hundreds of proprietors and fishermen for their land and anticipated the demise of fishing grounds. In addition to the establishment of the fish processing enterprises in Lamu, around 5,000 fishermen will get automated fishing boats and equipment for fishing. Donors in May 2016 established an African Center to raise $20 billion for regional infrastructure projects, suggesting a possible turn in Lamu's fortunes. The Sustainable Development Investment Partnership, aka the SDIP, announced the regional centre on the first day of the World Economic Forum. This project is a wider part of Kenya's 2030 initiative to achieve Kenya's goal of a 10% economic growth rate per annum until then. With Berth 1 opened in May 2021, are they on their way to doing that? Highways, railways, ports and pipelines will surely help. Let's see where each of these projects are. Highways. The LAPSSET Corridor highways connects Lamu Port to landlocked Ethiopia and South Sudan, enabling movement of people and cargo along the LAPSSET Corridor, interconnecting the region, spurring regional trade and economic development. 7 highways interconnect these countries and the status of them is as follows. Isiolo to Moyale. This road is complete and operational, starting at Isiolo near Kenya's capital Nairobi and ending in the north in Moyale, just below the Ethiopian border. This road is already vital for trade. Garsen-Witu Lamu Highway. Similarly, this Kenyan highway connects with the Isiolo-Moyale and stretches from Lamu in the east to Garsen in the west. Lamu-Ijara-Garissa Road is between 40% and 74% complete, after works were stopped due to an attack but have now resumed. The road will cross many trading centres in Kenya such as Hindi and Barigonu. The 10-kilometre Lamu Port Link Road is 100% complete. The sole purpose of this road is to evacuate cargo from Lamu to South Sudan and Ethiopia. Garissa-Isiolo section is 3% complete. This is a road going from the eastern town of Garissa near to Lamu into the central Isiolo location. The Isiolo-Lokichar road, designs have been completed with construction yet to commence. However, this road again links to the central Isiolo location. The Lokichar-Nadapal. The 338-kilometer road is currently 98% complete. When complete, the northern corridor at Leseru will link with the corridor at Lokichar, close to the southwest of South Sudan. Currently, due to the deteriorated condition of the road, transit traffic currently passes through the longer route via Uganda. Railways. This project also has inter-regional standard gauge railway lines from Lamu to Isiolo, Isiolo to Juba, Isiolo to Addis Ababa, and Nairobi to Isiolo. Costs for construction of the LAPSSET Corridor railway and procurement of rolling stocks are estimated at approximately $7,100 million, including civil works at $3,480 million, tracks at $1,200 million, rolling stock at $1,220 million, as well as signal and telecoms $520 million and buildings $300 million. The railway has an overall economic internal rate of return, an EIRR, of 15.6% for all sections combined. The project is considered feasible from the viewpoint of the national economy. The Lokichar to Lamu crude oil pipeline, or the LLCOP, is currently being developed by a consortium of the government of Kenya and international oil companies developing the oil resources in the South Lokichar Basin in Turkana. The Lokichar to Lamu crude oil pipeline will transport crude oil from South Lokichar to the coast at Lamu for export. The pipeline will be buried underground in an attempt to try and minimize disruption to land users and wildlife. If you would like another video exploring the additional projects such as the 3 brand new airports, the shiny new metropolis resort cities, and many others, please leave a like on the video and comment which one you would like to see. Earlier on in the video, Uganda was mentioned. Why was this? The East African region in Africa is one of the most interconnected. Aside from both being in the East African community, Swahili links 2 of the LAPSSET Corridor countries. Business is easier to get done with people you are familiar with, so surrounding nations such as Tanzania, Rwanda, and Uganda will be eager to utilize Kenya's newfound infrastructure, whether through more efficient trade by better access to ports and therefore the wider international markets, or access to their vast railways. The East African region is due for an infrastructural upgrade. Coming to the end of this video, what are your thoughts on the LAPSSET Corridor? Do you think it will have a positive or negative effect on East African connection? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, please like and subscribe to Habari Tech, your hub for African economics. Thank you.